Okay. So I can see Happiness Ebo. I can see Benga Ewoya. Sorry. I can see, oh, sorry. I'm not sure I can pronounce your name, but this is Idehen. I don't want to, to mispronounce. Then I can see All Saints Anglican Church, Yaba. You're highly welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And then there's one more person that is signified by Galaxy. I don't know who that is. If you can just type in your name so that we'll be able to identify you. You're highly welcome. We'll be getting started in a few minutes. Our guest is here with us. So let's see. You're welcome, Mrs. Alawade. Thank you for being here, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, ma. We'll be getting started shortly.
Okay. There's so much emptiness all around me. By the riverside, love blossoms. And betrayal sails on.
I just want to send some reminders.
Two friends. He is like a brother, and I promise you that nothing and no one can hurt him as long as I live. Witness the story of three hearts entangled in a dangerous triangle. You've heard from Lena Maria?
Okay. Mr. Olabi, you're welcome, sir. Mr. Badmos, you're welcome. Welcome, welcome. Once it's on the dot of 2020, that's 8:20 West African time, we'll be starting off. So I'm just sending a few reminders to some of our members. Thank God it's Friday. I'm sure all of us are looking forward to getting some rest this weekend.
Yeah, loading and recovery.
All right. So a few more reminders, it's 2020 already. Okay. So I think everyone else can join us somewhere in the middle or before the end, because it's going to be a very short meeting. Okay. So I want to say a big welcome to everyone who is joining us tonight. My name is Muyosuri Makinde, and everyone calls me Dr. Uri. I'm the founder of Lifestyle Champions International, and here we encourage everyone, like-minded individuals, to make healthy lifestyle choices on a regular basis so that we can enjoy a healthy life, a long life, just like God has promised us. That is one scripture that a lot of people like to talk about, that says that I will satisfy you with long life and show you my salvation. But we need to do something. We can't be passive and expect to be healthy. It's just like you're going to school, you're going to work. Things don't happen without you. They don't happen automatically without you being intentional about passing your exams. You need to read for your exams. You need to study. You need to work at making your clients happy. You need to work at marketing so that things can happen. In the same way, if you want to enjoy a healthy life, you want to avoid going in and out of hospital all the time, then we must learn to practice healthy habits, because studies show us that healthy habits, healthy behaviors are linked to the root cause of disease. So I want to say a very warm welcome to everyone. More and more of our members are joining us, members of LCI, our followers, our supporters. We are so excited to have you on board. And we wouldn't want to keep anyone here beyond 9 o'clock. So we're going to make it real fast. Our guest is already in the house. So I might not have called your name yet, but before we leave at the end, I will do my best to recognize everyone. So I am going to go straight to recognizing our guest for today. I'm sure, as you all know, we started this BYC in the year 2020. I think that was September 2020. We started having Boost Your Confidence conversations, which involve one of our members or a like-minded individual who is championing the cause of lifestyle, healthy living. And we invite such a person to come and tell us their experience, with their health and making healthy lifestyle choices. And we've had quite a number of interesting discussions, which are hosted on our YouTube channel. We'll share that with you later in case you want to go back and see what that is about. So tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing someone very special, and he's going to be telling us a lot about himself. Let me read out his profile. I actually sent his profile for those of us who looked in our emails. I shared his profile with us. So his name is Jack Mbom. He has a PhD in exercise physiology. He's a fitness and wellness consultant with 42 years of experience in training and consulting, both for the government and commerce, as well as in the industrial sector. Now, he was the first national karate coach, one of the first Nigerian lecturers at the National Sports Institute, and he has directed courses and workshops at the Nigerian Police Academy in Jos, the Nigerian Prisons Academy, Akuri, Kaduna, the University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, the University of Ife, the University of Benin, and the University of Nigeria. Dr. Mbom has also directed training programs for the Nigerian Armed Forces, the State Security Services, and the Nigeria Customs Service. He has consulted for Shell Nigeria, Chevron Nigeria, Mobil Producing Nigeria, Mobil Oil Nigeria, Total Fina Health Nigeria, Total E&P, National Oil and Chemicals, Scumberger Nigeria, ABB Lumos Global, West African Gas Pipeline. Wow, that's a whole lot, but that tells you where our guest has been so that you can be sure that your expectations tonight will not be cut short. He's organized a lot of worksite wellness programs for Cornerstone Insurance, Africa Reinsurance Corporation, Glasgow Smith Kline, and several others, including universities, churches, institutions, and associations. This one is quite interesting. Dr. Mbom is a black belt is Black Belt 10 degree in Karate Do, the father of Nigeria Karate Do, and foster father of Nigeria Taekwondo. He was Secretary General, Africa Karate Federation, and President, Nigerian Karate Association. He's currently Secretary General, Japan Karate Association World Federation, Africa Sub-Sahara region, and then he's a chief instructor of Nigerian Federation of Nigeria. He's an international karate high grandmaster. Wow, this is quite heavy. Okay, let me try and summarize it a bit more. He was a president, Guild of Exercise Professionals, and the National Coordinator, Physical and Health Education Values. He's a fellow and facilitator, International Institute for Leadership and Governance, OCSID and facilitator, Institute for National Transformation. He's a member of the Society of Lifestyle Medicine of Nigeria, so long, managing consultant and CEO, Dr. Jack's Wellness Center. He's a popular speaker on preventive health and wellness issues, a leadership wellness advocate, and a wellness consultant to leaders and corporate organizations. Dr. Jack speaks English, French, and Spanish languages fluently. Wow, this is a beautiful profile and very intriguing and inspiring. And there's one more thing that you're going to hear from him as he speaks to us tonight. He'll be telling us how old he is. So Dr. Jack, we're so excited to have you tonight. I've worked with Dr. Jack before closely in managing patients. And I would tell you that once you start listening to him, you wouldn't want him to stop. So Dr. Jack, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Doc.
So we'll just like to hear your story. That's what we do in BYC. We want to hear the story of lifestyle champions, people who have gone through, the different turns of life, challenges, illnesses, injuries, and how you bounced back, how you made it work. Of course, by the grace of God, using principles that apply to healthy living. So you're welcome on board, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, firstly, I am 70 years young.
Wow.
I'm going to be 70 exactly next month on the 10th of July. So just around the corner. And I have a passion. Yes. There are two incidents or serious incidents that stand out that in my life that would have cost my life, nearly cost my life. And one of them happened 22 years ago when I was a consultant to the oil industry. I don't like flying in those small planes that shake you up and down. So I used to drive from here to Eket for Mobile, drive from here to Takot for Shell and Chevron, drive from here to Warri. So I prefer having my feet on the ground or driving myself and flying up there. But, driving also has its consequences. So about 22 years ago, I was preparing for a meeting, a very important meeting that was with Shell on the Shell project, the Belema gas project. I was a security consultant project, and it was a very lucrative project, an offshore project. I was being paid in dollars in my offshore bank account. So I was going to this meeting, and I guess I fell asleep at the back of the car. My driver was driving, then in that kind of haze, I heard screeching noises of tires, on the Matagram, then a loud bang. And I woke up 2 days later at the at the Ikeja General Hospital. And I was told that there was a multiple, car, crash, and then a 4-car pile-up, and that, there was 3 dead out of the pile-up, 2 in coma, including myself and 4 with multiple fractures, including me too. I had a fractured, left forearm. I had a fractured left leg, and I have a crushed, a fractured right leg and a crushed right thigh. When I woke up, after 2 days in coma, I was in total disbelief because, it was like, look, this is not me. And, I think it took me quite some time to come to the realization that the broken pieces that I saw on the bed were really me. It was very trying, denial. It took me some time to come to the conclusion that it was me. And when I finally came back to, I had to, start trying to pick up the pieces. I was taken to the National Orthopedic Hospital, and firstly, I said I was not going to go through, surgery, because I was told that the 2 other fractures, the one of the left arm and the right leg, normal POP will do, manage them, but that the crushed thigh, had to be opened up. There was nothing else that could be done. So it took me some time to accept that I'll go through surgery. But before that, I said, look, let them put the POP, on the other parts of the body, and then I will try to make sure that I go to the jaw people to panel beat me up. So I left hospital, I discharged myself, went to seek, traditional, solution or management of the crushed leg, or the femur. And while aware of the fact that the jaw people cannot be effective unless, they can be able to feel the bone they're going to align. Because the muscle mass on the thigh is so big, I still knew that there was a question mark, for them being able to align the bone. But because I was not, I was not ready for, any surgery, I decided to go to the jaw. And 3 months thereafter, the bone was still just like it was before I went. So I came to the conclusion that I had no choice. I had to go through surgery. So first surgery was at the, this was the picture of my car. You can see, if you see a Jeep like this, then you have an idea of how the impact was. I was on the back seat, and on impact, a police vehicle flew into this vehicle at 150 per hour. And I was projected from the back seat onto the windscreen and back. So this was the femur. That's what it looked like.
We can't see your, can everybody see your screen? I don't think, okay. We can't see the slides.
You can't see the slides?
We can see the slides.
Oh, okay, never mind. I can see it now. Okay, never mind.
So that was my femur.
We can see the slides.
And at the National Orthopedic Hospital, this was the panel beating they did. They put an angular plate with 7 screws, and the alignment was not even, good. And then the screws started falling off, after a while. And I guess they wanted to amputate. That was traumatic enough. And I took some courses, the university, when I was doing, physical and health education, specialization on exercise physiology. And one of the, people with whom I took courses, graduated as a medical doctor, and he was head of the orthopedic unit of a hospital in Belgium. So he said, Dr. Jack, please come here before they amputate you so that we can be able to try to save your leg. So I traveled to Belgium. The first surgery at the National Orthopedic Hospital here was 3 hours and a half. While they were operating on me, NEPA took light. I was bleeding on the table, of course. And my manager was busy running around to try to make deals with NEPA so they can bring back light. And the generator at the National Orthopedic Hospital was not working. So that was quite interesting. And when I went to Belgium, the operation was 5 hours. And this is what they did. As you can see, they put in a K nail in the shaft of the bone and 2 screws at the hip, 2 screws at the knee level. That was traumatic. I can't describe the trauma of 2 major surgeries. And when this was done, it was like, why don't you come back 2 years thereafter so we can be able to remove the iron, and all that. And I can tell you that after that surgery, after the surgery in 2001, I have not gone close to a hospital, except, as a consultant, not as a patient. I did not want to go through a third major surgery. I didn't want to repeat that trauma. There's a trauma I would not wish to my worst enemy if I had any. So it took me approximately, 3 years of recuperation without working. And I had to make sure that I designed a plan of rehabilitation for myself. And, it was done, it was successful, but the fact is that since 2021, since 2001, after the corrective surgery in Belgium, I have not experienced any serious illness. I have not taken any drugs. Even prior to that accident, I had not been to hospital, for any serious health condition, because I have always, practiced preventive maintenance. It is important for all of us to understand, that health is a combination lock, and that combination lock, we need 5 key digits, mostly to open that lock. And the digits are balanced nutrition, the quality of fueling you give the engine. The second one, regular appropriate exercise, the quality of servicing you give to the engine. The third one, adequate rest, the quality of renewal and restoration you bring to the system. The fourth one, stress management, how you can be able to manage your energy levels and, ensure that you do not traumatize yourself, because when you leave stress take over, the first thing that happens, your immune system is depleted and you have a general bodily inflammatory response. Then the fifth one, balance emotions, love and intimacy. So basically, the point we are making, and what Dr. Ore has been championing for a while, is the fact that the newest research today point to the fact that 80%, of the health issues we have fall within the category of chronic degenerative diseases. Only about 20% of them, could be classified as acute medical conditions. When I had that accident, it was an acute medical condition, no prevention, no nutrition, no exercise, nothing could help. I had to go through surgery. But then rehabilitation, I had to do that myself. So consequently, what we're saying here and what we want everybody to understand is the fact that, the contributory factors to health are basically 4 major factors that are contributory factors to health. Number one is your, environment where you live. That contributes approximately, 20% to your health. The second one is your hereditary, your genes. It contributes approximately 20%, to your health status. Thirdly, the state of, the healthcare system. State of hospitals, clinics, and all that, availability of good healthcare services, it contributes to 10%. And then what we call positive health behaviors, meaning your lifestyle choices, contribute to 50% of your health status. So consequently, what we're saying is that 90% of the contributors to your health, you hold the key. They are under your control. And that basically, if we practice positive health behaviors, we make the right choices, and take the right decision, we are likely to achieve the minimum of 120 years, of long and healthy life that God has planned for us. Now, the second, trauma was just last year. I have been, throughout my life, for about 40 years, I've been enjoying a sweet tooth. And, Basically, nothing bitter will enter my mouth. There was a time when I was much more younger in the US where I'd take 10 bottles of soda a day. When I came back here, I was a regular juju guy. My friends will call my doodle juju. So it had to be sweet. But then, you know that when you take anything sweet, basically, you will have hyperglycemia, which will cause hyperinsulinemia, and then sugar in the blood is the greatest poison that you have. That's going to affect your body. So over time, even though I was metabolizing the sugar, it was affecting, my body, affecting my nerves and all that. And every single thing came to a boil last year, in September, when I came up with very severe nerve pain, around my upper back and my neck. It was severe and debilitating. My children who are all, those abroad who are all in medicine, forced me to go to one of the, colleagues who graduated in the University of Florida, where they all graduated from, and to go and get an MRI. And then the result of the MRI was very interesting. This is it. MRI said that, I had, a reversal of my cervical lordosis, and that I had, basically, my intervertebral discs were all, narrowing. We're all depressed, and that I had narrowing of the, the left, and right, neural foramen, that pressure on the nerve roots on, left and right. This is C2 to C3, C2 to C3, C3 to C4, C4 to C5, C5 to C6, C6 to C7, C7 to T1. Narrowing of the intervertebral disc, and then, pressure on the, on the nerves on the left and right hand side. So after the MRI, the doctor asked me, so how come you're still standing? You should be lying down on morphine, half paralyzed. And that basically what they have to do is make sure that they contact an orthopedic surgeon so that I can start getting myself ready for surgery. That was, the news. So when I discussed with my children, they say, no, they have to make sure that, they get me, they get me to the US so that I can be able to undergo surgery and all that. So we had to make a deal. They told me, Daddy, we know that you don't like drugs, but now you don't have a choice. The pain is very, very harrowing. So what we want to do is want to choose, some narcotics, some drugs, painkillers that have low narcotic value and low addictive value. So at least we can be able to bring the pain under control, and then thereafter you can be able to do, physical therapy, which we specialize in. So I agreed because they gave me no choice. They say we are interested parties and you don't have an opinion. So they sent the drugs to me. And when I took the drugs for 36 hours, my head was turning. I couldn't stand up. So after going through that harrowing experience, I just dropped the drugs aside, and decided to design for myself, a therapy program that was based basically on ensuring that, I can be able, to have, first and foremost, make sure that, I can have anti-inflammatory diet. Second, making sure that I can be able to get vitamins like the B complex, that are going to start working and healing my nerves. Thirdly, ensure that I can be able to make sure that I have enough omega-3, to also douse inflammation. Then made sure that I had exercise therapy, make sure that I rested, very well, to be able to renew and restore. Because research has shown, but 20 years ago, the understanding was that if you have a heart attack and part of your heart muscle dies, that is done, that the heart muscle cannot renew themselves. Today, science has shown that heart muscle can renew themselves. Science has shown that when you have a stroke, the brain cells, brain tissue, brain cells renew themselves. Science has even shown that cartilage, when you lose them, they can renew themselves. Consequently, God programmed this body to renew itself, repair itself, and auto-regulate, provided you give it the raw material. So that's exactly what I did, And the MRI you see was in November, 2021. And by the 30th of March, 2022, I had regained the total range of motion in my neck and shoulder areas, and I was with no pain. So as I'm talking to you now, I'm going to step next month into my 70th birthday, painless, full of energy and vitality. And this was no drugs, no more panel beating after the first season, just basic natural processes, using nutrition, using exercise, using rest, using stress management, and making sure that I have balanced emotion, the right, type and the right amount of love and intimacy and care to nurse me back. So this I am glad to share with you, because if I was able to, mend back and recover totally, from those two harrowing experiences, and every single person out there can be able to do the same. Yep.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Jack. We're so intrigued listening to your stories. I know that you've just tried to put everything together in the few minutes that we have, and I'm sure that we're going to have some questions. So I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Jack on behalf of Lifestyle Champions International Foundation. And I want to welcome us again. Thank you to everyone who has joined the meeting tonight, this Zoom meeting, as we have what we call Boost Your Confidence. And I'm sure you have listened to Dr. Jack's story. He said no more panel beating. I like that aspect. So I can see that 2 participants have raised their hands already. So I'm going to allow them to unmute and to speak. Mrs. Ogunfunmiloye, I believe your hand is raised, ma'am. Do you want to unmute and ask your question? Please make it as concise as possible. And then the second person too. For other people who don't want to speak, we have the chat box function. Please do drop your questions there so that we can address them as well. Okay. Mrs. Ogunfunmiloye, your hand was raised. Is there any other person? I can't hear her right now. Okay, I guess she can't hear me. Is there any other person that has a question? I can't see any other questions in the chat box. Please let's express appreciation to Dr. Jack. So you can send a clap into the chat box or into the function just to appreciate him for sharing his story. Not everyone is always willing to come out, to share their story of lifestyle change, but I think it's quite amazing that he would have 2 major challenges. One was an accident. You saw the write-off of that vehicle. Sir, can you just scroll up again and let's see the picture of the accident. So he was involved in a major accident, but thankfully he survived it. He survived it and he had major fractures. But I saw him just a month ago. You wouldn't know that, he had a fracture. He's walking without a limp. And then he had this challenge also with his nervous system, and he couldn't cope with the medication. One of the things that we emphasize is that we shouldn't take a pill for every ill. And though many times medication is an adjunct to our care, and when you are already ill, acutely ill, please don't refuse medication, because some people, when they are ill, they refuse to go to hospital. So if you're acutely ill, please don't refuse medication, go to hospital, get diagnosed. But what we're talking about here is how we can prevent and manage chronic medical illnesses. And sometimes it could be an acute thing. For example, studies have shown that if you don't get enough sleep, 2 weeks prior to the time that you come in contact with the cold virus, your resistance to the common cold drops. And so you come down with a cold. And so some of us will notice that when we don't sleep very well, we get locked in nostrils and all of that. It's all part of that same cycle. So your immunity is affected by your lifestyle, and your lifestyle is not only about your food, it's not only about what you drink, but it's about your relationships, your emotions, your sleep, your stress management. And those were the things that Dr. Jack employed to be able to, achieve his health status today, all with the grace of God. So we want us to really take that seriously. We can prevent chronic medical illnesses by just making simple lifestyle choices. So you don't wait for it to jump on you. You are intentional, just like you want to pass your exam or you want to get picked at an interview because of your high performance. So we have a lot of thank yous in the chat box. Thank you, Dr. Jack. Thank you immensely for this inspiring lecture. Thank you, Dr. Jack, very inspiring. Thanks for sharing your inspiring medical history to buttress lifestyle changes. Yes, that is exactly what we do in BYC.
Not to cut you off, Doc.
Okay.
We are all still really, even though lightly now, under the trauma of COVID. And for me, COVID was a message from God, a global message from God, to the effect that health is the most important gift we have from Him to mankind. To the effect that if you don't have health, you have nothing. And when you lose health, you lose everything. But the experience we had during COVID showed that those who had the severest symptom, who experienced the severe symptom, and who has the highest rate of fatality were those people with pre-existing medical condition or comorbidities. So
you're quite right about that, sir. Quite right.
So the point we're making is that if you take good care of your system by making sure that you service it, you do self-care, you take the best possible care of this sophisticated piece of equipment, contraption that God created, made Himself, His handiwork, you can never go wrong, because your immune system is what stands between you and illness and between you and death. But those of us who wait for the signal, for the body to break down and to take it for panel beating, we usually have serious surprises at the end of the road, because there's no guarantee that you're going to come back. President Yaradua did not come back. Steve Jobs, the greatest creative genius of the 20th century, 21st century, did not come back. Adien Rokun here did not come back. You have men of God who are collapsing on the pulpit every day who don't come back. Why? God gave us a division of labor. Those of us who rely on His promises to the effect that He will not visit upon us, the illnesses He visited upon the Egyptian, are in trouble because it's on condition that we obey, His rules. We obey, His laws. You cannot trample God's laws of healthy living and expect that, you're not going to get sick. If you mess up with His temple, you're going to pay the price. Consequently, just like you said, Doc, we must make sure that we are intentional. We must make sure, that we make the right decision and engage, in positive health behavior to ensure that we do not, fall prey to illness or have the system to break down. Because when it does break down, there's no guarantee that it will mend. You have downtime, you have trauma, with no guarantee. And then you have expenditures, you have, and then you also put trauma on your loved ones. Because when you are sick, the whole family is sick, your friends are sick. And if anything happened to you, like my brother, who was a pastor, the bishop died last year, my own immediate junior brother, who was like, okay, God will. And he went to attend one of the members of his flock and he collapsed. He was in coma. for 3 weeks in the intensive care unit. And that was that. So preventive maintenance is important. Being proactive in health is important. Ensuring that we take the best possible care of these bodies, is important. And we hope that we can all not only hear that, but that God will bless us with the capacity to use this knowledge, because knowledge is not power, it's the application of knowledge that is power. What Dr. Ore and I are saying is not news. This has been established over 40 years ago. Dr. Dean Ornish was the first medical doctor who showed through double-blind and placebo-controlled experimentation that you could prevent, stop, and reverse most of the chronic degenerative diseases. So the knowledge has been there for 42 years. And yet we're still dealing, with illnesses today, and all the new medical, medicines, and the new, technology and science. All it does is possibly extend our life. But what quality of life do we have with that extension? So,
wow. I'm sure everyone has been listening very attentively. Thank you so much, Dr. Jack. We are so excited to have listened to you tonight, and we know that this is going to help us a lot. I always tell my patients and colleagues and friends, I always go around with my water. I have my water bottle anywhere I go to. I don't care for any of those fizzy drinks or the ones that come in packages and different sizes. I don't care for any of them anymore because we don't need it. You're just putting a lot of inflammation into your body, when you drink all of those. So I want to believe that as many of us that are lifestyle champions who have been following LCI in the past 2 years, you have also adopted that lifestyle of drinking water. And so another thing that I tell people, things that have a lot of flour, we see a lot of small chops around, a lot of pastries, meat pies, and people feel that when they take those things, well, this is life. They feel this is life. How can you tell me not to take this? We're talking about processed meats again. We have bacon, we have sausages, we have ham. Even in our own environment, we have things like suya, things that have been exposed to very high degree of heat. According to the World Health Organization, they are within the group 1 category for carcinogens that can, hurt the human body. So we need to run with this. We need to carry that awareness, because every day people ask me, why are the rates of cancers increasing? Why are we having more and more deaths from diabetes? It's because of our behavior. So please, LCI, lifestyle champions, let's champion healthy behaviors. Don't wait for the sledgehammer before you start doing something about your wellness profile. And so that's what we are about. And we are very thankful that you stayed with us tonight. We're letting you go on the dot of 9. So I want to appreciate everyone in the house. I can see my senior colleague and trainer in the house, Professor Stephen Johanna. Thank you for being here, sir. I can also see the Vice President of the Society of Lifestyle Medicine of Nigeria, Dr. Charles Kujo. Thank you, sir, for being here. I can see several other people in the house. Dr. Gaba, Mrs. Adebamowo, Mrs. Adewusi. I'm trying to scroll down. Mrs. Awolola. Let's see. Dr. Adenuga, thank you for being here. Mr. Akonbi, Mr. Olabi Badmos, Mrs. Mimiruku, Dr. Diana, Dr. Oduniyi. Thank you so much for being here. Edith Ibitoye, Dr. Okpoko. Oh, my dad is here, Dr. Peter Elemile. Thank you for being here, Dad. Mrs. Elliott is here. Jinika, you're here. Mr. Eweoya is here. Dr. Yusuf is here. I'm still trying to scroll. So thank you so much. Oh, Dr. Shodainde from M1. So great to have you, Ma. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, Ma.
Good evening.
Yes,
Well
Ma.
done.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ma.
sir.
Thank you.
Ma.
Dr. Idowu. I'm still trying to scroll. Dr. Akindole, thank you, Ma, for being here. Dr. Jolayemi, Dr. Kaine, Mrs. Adegoke, Mrs. Adesonya, thank you for being here, Ma. Mrs. Egboluche, Mrs. Ogunfumiloye, Tonya Adedewe, my sister. Well, I can see Mrs. Oyeyemi Bakari. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you being here tonight. So if you have not been receiving any emails from us, please do type your email into the chat box so that we can send you information about upcoming events. I think Mrs. Oyegoke, thank you for being here, Ma. Mr. Oladipo Aremu, thank you, everyone. So Mr. Stephen Adedewe, thank you. Dr. Akimbumi, thank you. Dr. Oluda Isioduni, my colleague and geriatrician, thank you. Temi, thank you. Mrs. Quadri, thank you. Mrs. Umona, Dr. Valentina, thank you, everyone. So we're going to post this on our YouTube channel in case you didn't get to watch everything. You can still catch up later. Mrs. Onegbe, thank you. Mr. Hope I'm not missed. It keeps going back up. So pardon me if I missed your name, but I just want to say thank you to everyone. So we're letting you go. You can unmute yourself in case you want to just say hello. Doctor, can you stop sharing the screen so that people can unmute and show their videos and we can hear them?